Hi, I think. My name is Brian Martin. Thank you for joining me. This week, most days, hi, I'm Brian Martin. This week, most days, we do a little bit of reading from a book that is not yet published, but is written except for a few little tidbits here and there. And the name of the book is Oxytocin is the O in love, how to maintain and grow your emotional connections. And it's a really wonderful book. All of the readings are on my YouTube station, and it's listed there. And you can go there and you can listen to the entire book. Also, my ebook is there. Eternity is the E in love, Love. And those are two. And then my kindness book is recorded somewhere, but I think it's on a different site. So, but anyway, that's the that's the L book. All right, so today we're continuing and we're finishing up the section on controlling your thoughts. Controlling your thoughts are really important for your emotional connections. And one last technique on controlling your thoughts, and then I have a summary. So you caught me at a really great time because there's going to be a summary of all the techniques that I use to help control my thoughts, which enhance my emotional connection with Jennifer. Are you ready? Here we begin. Controlling thoughts with breathing. Okay? Every once in a while I get a phone call from my son Benjamin. Just got off the phone with Benjamin, by the way. He's an amazing man. Our phone calls go something like this. What are you doing, Dad? I'm working on a project. What are you doing? Well, I'm on my way to an appointment and I'm having another panic attack. My heart is racing and I'm lightheaded. I'm feeling like I might pass out. Okay, let's work on your breathing, I say. Inhale from your belly and exhale, counting 1, 2, and 3. Let's try that again. This time a little bit slower. That's great. Now when you inhale, count to 4. Begin with the exhale, 1, 2, 3, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great. We work together controlling his breathing for 10 minutes or longer as his heart begins to slow and the panic feeling begins to subside. Taking control of breathing is a powerful way to control your body and your mind. As I mentioned, with controlling my thoughts during sleepless nights. I call attention to my breathing often. For me, every breath is a prayer. Every single breath. When I inhale, I pray, I am grateful. And when I exhale, I pray, I love you. And when I am prayer breathing, all my other thoughts are subject to, I am grateful, I love you. What I mean by that is that the only thought that I have is, I am grateful, I love you. Negative thoughts don't exist while I am prayer breathing. My body relaxes. It is peaceful, rejuvenated, and I have complete control. I wrote a guided meditation to help people with their own prayer breathing, and I'd like to share it with you here. And before I share it with you, I want you to know I'm a continual learner. I'm always reading. I'm a lifelong learner. And I learn things from time to time which are really fabulous and helpful for me. I've shared with you several books, but I have a new book that I've really enjoyed, and it's called Breathe by James Nestor. And he does a fabulous job of illustrating the importance of breathing. And moreover, there are some really great breathing techniques that are demonstrated in the audiobook version of it. And so I highly, if you're interested in breathing, and you ought to be as long as you're breathing, I highly recommend that you read James Nestor's book, Breathe. It's just a fabulous book, and it's informed my thinking. And I think that it's really in line with what I wrote in these 3 brief paragraphs about breathing. So here is a peaceful breathing meditation. Now, this is really fabulous, and you can use this anytime you want to. So you may want to go to my YouTube station and pick out this particular episode. I believe this is the 8th reading. And come back to this peaceful breathing meditation. I'm going to read it to you now. And if you like to, you can enjoy this and actually have a meditation experience while we're going through this. Here we go. You can focus on these letters and the words as you breathe. As you breathe in, let your inner voice say, I am grateful. And on the exhale, say, I love you. Let your belly rise on I am grateful, and let your air go out on I love you. Slow your breathing and catch your body's natural rhythm. I am grateful. I love you. Now, in a seamless stream, 3 times in a row. I am grateful. I love you. I am grateful. I love you. I am grateful. I love you. As you find yourself in this restful state, you may notice distractions, and you will return to, I am grateful. I love you. Let your head and neck and shoulders relax. I am grateful. I love you. Relax your back and your chest. I am grateful. I love you. Next, feel the relaxing flow in your hips and your legs and your feet. I am grateful. I love you. Now, join me in your mind's eye at the railing at Glacier Point overlooking Yosemite Valley. It doesn't matter if you've never been there before. I am grateful. I love you. What matters is that you can feel the cool wind rising up from the valley. It feels cool, powerful, refreshing. I am grateful. I love you. The strong, cool wind gently lifts you above the railing, and you feel in complete control, as if you've always known how to let the wind carry you. The fear of falling might briefly enter your mind, but you remember that this is just a guided meditation, and you lean forward and let the wind carry you while you enjoy the freedom of the experience. I am grateful. I love you. Again, I am grateful. I love you. You can look around, you can enjoy the view, or you can just enjoy the feeling of freedom. I am grateful. I love you. I am grateful. I love you. You can enjoy this experience for as long as you want. Breathing, I am grateful. I love you. I am grateful. I love you. When in your mind you feel refreshed and peaceful, I am grateful. I love you. The strong wind will begin to gently lower you. Softly, gently. The cool wind brings you back behind the railing. I am grateful. I love you. I am grateful. I love you. You feel secure on the ground. I am grateful. I love you. You can bring this meditation to a peaceful conclusion with one more. I am grateful. I love you. You can enjoy this wonderful meditation for as long as you want. The feeling of being carried over Yosemite by the wind can promote positive brain chemicals, which you may notice for some time after the exercise. You can go back and you can do this exercise again and allow yourself to linger longer. I read it 2 or 3 times in a row. And I can tell you, just by reading it now, I can feel it. I can feel the difference in my head and in my body. Now, notice how you dealt with the negativity of falling in the meditation. You simply redirected your thought from the fear of falling back to the meditation, and you instantly felt back in control and free to enjoy the experience. This is exactly how you can redirect your negative thoughts to just about anything, any thought that you want to. Another way to use breath to control your thinking is counting your breaths. As you focus on your breathing, you control other thoughts. I would encourage you to play with counting your breaths to control your thoughts. I tried counting backwards from 1,000. That's very challenging. Inevitably, an intrusive thought would come, would find its way back, and I would forget if I was at 876 or 867. Then I'd have to begin all over again. It worked, but I was frustrated by not being able to count backwards purely, that is, without missing a thought. Don't worry about that. It works better for me to count 6 breaths and to start again. It's easy for me to acknowledge a thought or some other distraction like a sound and simply return to controlling my breaths. I use counting my breaths when I walk on the treadmill. I keep rhythm to my walk. I inhale on my right foot, counting my steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I exhale on 5, 6, 7. And then I switch my feet and I begin counting on my left foot with the same pattern. This is focused attention, and it produces an altered state of consciousness, a kind of moving meditation. Even with intense focus like this, unwanted thoughts filter in. When they do, I simply continue my routine and they evaporate. I keep this rhythm up for 30 minutes or longer. And by the way, when you read James Nestor's book on breathing, he's going to list a bunch of different breathing techniques that you can use in a variety of different situations. I'm looking forward to breathing those also. All right, so that's that. So let's go now, a summary of controlled thoughts. Here we go. You can see that you actually do have a lot more control over your thinking than you ever realized. Here's a review of what we've covered about controlling your thoughts. Number 1, what is a thought? A thought is a biological process within your brain formed by the dynamic interaction of brain cells, brain chemicals, and electronic or electric impulses. You have more control over these processes than you ever realized. Your thoughts are subject to your control. You are not necessarily controlled by your thoughts. Number 2, thinking about ego. The idea of ego is an ancient, antiquated invention used to understand self. Many people continue to hold ego as their primary way of thinking about self. In recent years, advances in science technology are providing new insights about people. Therapeutic and religious approaches to self may pathologize self as a necessary function for treating disease or redeeming sin, seeing people as disease or needing healing approach. An alternative process is to view people as astounding miracles of astronomical proportions who are endowed with and have acquired gifts and skills and talents and tools, using their talents to benefit their self and others. This provides satisfying meaning and significance in life. Side trip on LSD. A current attempt to gain more insight on brain function and thinking is the resurgence of the ancient use of psychedelics. The experience of death of self and feeling one with the universe gives new ways of thinking about the human experience. Proponents of psychedelics are touting the therapeutic value of psychedelics in an attempt to legalize the use of psychedelics. The idea of expanding and exploring the way we think has long been the goal of many. Related to the topic of psychedelics is the altered state of the flow experience, which I think everybody's experienced one time or another. Flow is the sustained focus on a subject for a prolonged period of time to the point that one loses a sense of self and time. My personal experience is that flow is extremely pleasant, a feeling that is sustained over a long period of time after the flow experience ends. Focused awareness and sustained concentration is taking control of one's thoughts. Number 4, controlling your fight-flee response. Adrenaline is a powerful brain chemical originally designed to help our ancient ancestors fight off life-threatening wild animals or enemies. The reason you exist today is due to the fact that your ancestors successfully fought off a life-threatening enemy under the influence of adrenaline. However, adrenaline in the modern kitchen with a loving spouse is overkill and needs to be stopped. Fleeing the situation, breathing, engaging in the relaxation response, and replacing remunerations will fight the chemical and restore your body, your thinking, and bring you back to normal. This is a fabulous way to control your thinking. I actually had an adrenaline rush this morning because the situation developed, and I employed these techniques, and it's just wonderful how fast you can regain your control. Number 5, controlling your thoughts on sleepless nights. Sleepless nights were my classroom for learning to control my thoughts. I discovered I didn't need to be under the control of one powerful, persistent remuneration. Sometimes I can pronounce that word and sometimes can't. I can and I still can replace that one thought with one of millions of other thoughts and resist returning to the remuneration simply by coming back to my one thought over and over again until the chemical associated with that one persistent thought dissipates and evaporates into nothing. I learned how to control even the most persistent remuneration. Isn't that funny how you can get stuck on something like that? Number 6, control your thoughts by labeling them System 1 or System 2. System 1 is thinking fast and System 2 is thinking slow. I label all of Jennifer's expressed thoughts and conversations as System 1 or System 2, and I respond appropriately. I am aware of my own System 1 and System 2 thoughts and when I use them. The first fast System 1 thought is not always true. It's not always correct. It's not honest. It's not necessarily real. It may be unfiltered. Some people are unaware of their unfiltered thoughts. System 2 may be more calculating, but it's not always correct. I didn't get 100% on my algebra equations, even though they were the subject of System 2 thinking. Knowing that you are or the other is using fast System 1 thinking or slower System 2 thinking gives one greater control over their thoughts. Number 7, controlling your negative thoughts. The via negativa method of controlling thoughts is to eliminate your negative thinking. Negative thinking is any thought that makes the other or the self somehow less than their miracle nature. The opposite of negative thinking is not positive thinking, as if thinking about yourself or others were a math or a science equation. The opposite of negative thinking is loving thoughts. Loving thoughts honor, respects, and empowers self and others. Love is agnostic about why people act negatively and assume that there are reasons for others' negative thoughts, feelings, or actions which they, the observer, do not know about. When love does have reliable knowledge about the source of the other's negativity, love responds with care and help to the extent that it can. The goal of Via Negativa is to eliminate 100% of negative thinking. This is my goal. This is a fantastic way to control one's thinking. Number 8, controlling your thoughts by breathing. Without the exchange of oxygen, you cannot live. Your breathing is mostly ignored by people. Simply by being aware of your breath, you control your body and your mind. I attribute meaning to each breath with I am grateful when I inhale and I love you on the exhale. When I do this, I transform breathing into spiritual poetry. My thoughts are dominated by gratitude and love. Gratitude and love are my primary and basic thoughts while breathing. Controlling my thinking is foundational for my emotional connection with Jennifer. Ultimately, how I think about her determines every thought, feeling, and emotion I have for her. More than that, as she experiences my controlled thoughts, feelings, and emotions, she will feel free to lower her wall of protection, both in the keeping safe part of her brain and in the executive management part of her brain. When these parts work in concert, there is no hidden, nagging concern being suppressed by the executive managing part. There is no internal conflict in her. She can be free to completely be herself with me. This allows for a strong flow of love between us. That is our deep emotional connection. And I know that was a long reading today, but I have to tell you, man, I think that's fabulous material. And like I said, it's available for you to listen again. And soon and very soon, we'll have the book out so you can actually read it. But you know, how cool is it? How cool is it that you get to hear the author read it in his own voice? I just think that's amazing. By the way, in the book that I spoke to you about, Breathe, James Nestor narrates that. So it's really, really cool. And the exercises are narrated by somebody that he holds very close to his heart as well. My name is Brian Martin, and I'm the author of the book, Oxytocin is the O in Love. Now, tomorrow morning, which is Sunday at 9 o'clock, at Rev B. Martin on Facebook, I present the What Was Jesus Thinking? And what Jesus was thinking is my spiritual video blog. I follow the Revised Common Lectionary so that there's a prescribed reading for every particular Sunday. And what I do is I analyze the best I can what was Jesus thinking. And then I measure that I measure that with my thinking process. And it's really a lovely exploration, a spiritual exploration of what's going on in 2,000 years ago and now in our own thought process. And you're invited to join me. Otherwise, I'll see you next week at the same time or on YouTube. God bless you. Have a blessed day. Yeah, I think that was a good one.